Welcome to the rebranding episode. Did you notice anything different? What was reaching abundance is now podcasting for financial professionals. This change isn't just about a new name or fresh cover art. It's about instant clarity. Clarity for me, for you, for guests, and for anyone discovering the show. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on the branding process, how to do it, what I'm doing differently, and why it matters for your business. Here's something I want to make crystal clear. You can rebrand. You can change your name, update your visuals, shift your focus, whatever it takes to realign with your services, ideal clients, or your stage of life. Too many people hesitate to launch a podcast because they're stuck on branding. They think it has to be perfect the first time and that it's a set it and forget it thing, and it's not. Take it from me. Back in 2019, I knew I was obsessed with personal finance. So I launched a podcast called Reaching Abundance, and I did about 30 episodes where I provided personal finance guidance for moms with young children, because that was my life stage at that time. As things progressed, I launched a podcast production agency, and in 2024, I used the same podcast feed and name, but altered the concept and guesting strategy, producing the show you now know as Reaching Abundance, where I've been helping financial professionals market their business using audio and video podcasts. And now, in 2025, I'm taking it even further, refining my niche, elevating my searchability, and making it super obvious who I serve. Each version of my podcast, the services I've offered, and the evolution of my brand is reflective of my personal growth, the life stages that have come and gone, and my maturity in the financial and podcasting space. On the outside, that looks like updates to logos, colors, music, guest strategy, website, and even marketing elements like social media and newsletters. But there are certain things that are intentionally being kept, like my music choice for the show, to create continuity and familiarity for you throughout this update, so that while many things are changing, when you hit play, you still hear familiar sounds and visuals that reassure you that you're in the right spot. The point is, your brand should grow with you. Yes, do things well from the start, but don't hold your back from something you really want to do because it's not the perfect thing from the very beginning. There will never be the perfect time. And let's just be honest, you're probably going to update something in the next year anyways. So be like Nike, just do it. So let's back up for a second and think about, why would we rebrand in the first place? It's not just about aesthetics, it's about precision. A refined brand attracts better fit clients, it strengthens your authority, and it elevates the overall experience everyone has with your show. If your podcast no longer represents your expertise, your services, or speaks to your ideal audience, it's time for a strategic update. A successful rebrand should do three things: reflect your audience's expectations, communicate your authority at a glance, and align with the current evolution of your business. For me, that means stepping away from a broad, general concept that I still love, which is reaching abundance, into something that instantly tells you who I serve and how I help. If you're a financial professional who values high-end production and results-driven marketing, you now know that this podcast was designed for you. Now, I want to share with you 5 steps to a podcast rebrand so that you can understand what I'm doing and what I do for clients. Step 1 is to clarify your focus. Before changing anything, you need to define a few things. Who you serve. Has your audience shifted? Your core message. Does your podcast still represent your business values and who you are right now? And your differentiation. What makes your podcast uniquely valuable? I knew my expertise isn't just podcasting. It is premium podcast production for financial professionals. I want my podcast name and my branding to instantly communicate that. Step 2 to a rebrand is to update your podcast name and cover art. Now, your name might not always need to change. Mine did. Your podcast name should be clear, SEO friendly, and self-explanatory in just 3 to 4 words. We're not going to be vague or clever. If your ideal client or listener has to think about, what is the show about? It's off the table. If you need some notes on SEO to help you come up with the best name, refer back to episode 52. It was about SEO. And you can also find a recent episode I did with Bree Kahn from Child Free Wealth, where she discusses how they came up with their brand name and their show name. That'll be really helpful. Then, once you're clear on a show name, your cover art should match the feeling and vibe of your brand. If you're offering premium services, your visuals, like your cover art, should reflect that level of sophistication. We're looking for sleek fonts, a refined color palette, and high quality imagery. Okay, so sidebar right here. I haven't had a proper photo shoot done in about 5 years. Yikes, not recommended for business owners. And I actually won't be able to get in with the photographer I want for another 6 weeks. So you're going to see portions of my brand updated as we go because I'm not willing to hold the whole thing up just for my photo shoot. Today, you're going to see the new logo on the cover art next to the same old picture. I've also purchased some new URLs, set up some redirects, and created a brand new podcast page for my site on podcastabundance.com. That's phase 1 because those are things that I can do and that I can control immediately. But I need a little more time to do the rest of the pages on my site and to get that new brand photo shoot accomplished. That's phase 2. I'm sure there's going to be a phase 3, but that's a little undefined right now. So take note. Not only should you feel relieved that your branding doesn't have to be perfect the first time, because you're probably going to want to change things anyways, but also you can push your revised vision live in phases. It doesn't have to be all at once. All right, so back to the 5 steps of a proper rebrand. Sidebar over. Step 3 is to update your episode titles and descriptions throughout your content. If your branding has shifted, the written content related to your past episodes needs to align with that new vision, mission, target listener, etc. You're going to update your podcast's main description, tweak old episodes for better clarity and SEO, and ensure your audience can easily navigate that past content. For example, I've archived the old Personal Finance for Moms episodes like years ago. You can still find them, but it's really obvious that they aren't part of this current brand's mission and vision. I've also reviewed and updated all follow links, calls to actions, and titles to any episodes published from 2024 and forward to ensure they're coming along with me in my new brand vision and new keywords. You'll need to do a similar exercise. And again, it can be done in phases, especially if you're talking about updating 50 plus episodes. Step 4 is to announce your rebrand to your audience. You need to know that there's changes and why they're happening. And most importantly, what's in it for you? So do the same thing. Take your listeners behind the scenes, share the reasoning, share about the updates, and make it exciting. This episode is part of that process, bringing you into my decision and showing you how it's done and sharing which pieces you get to see today and what you can expect coming up. Step 5 is update everything everywhere. Websites, social media, listings. I mean, a podcast rebrand is not just about Apple Podcasts or Spotify or even YouTube. Your website, your email signatures, social media bios, everything has to reflect the new language and the new branding. For me, this means my podcast cover art and title on hosting platforms, my website and service pages, my email signature, my social media profiles and descriptions, captions in any scheduled posts that haven't gone live yet that we've already written and created. And then, of course, my newsletter and social media header images. And I'm sure there's still something that I'm missing. So if you find something that hasn't been updated but should be, let me know. You just want, and I want, my branding to be consistent everywhere you might find me. All right. Now that I've done 50 plus episodes of my own show, plus hundreds of episodes for clients, certain themes stand out about successful podcasters and business owners. For one, longevity comes from passion. The most successful shows continue past 70 episodes because the host genuinely loves sharing. They're podcasting because they want to. And yes, ROI is a factor, but passion is what sustains the process. The second thing is that specificity breeds success. The more specific and clear you are when you define your audience and when you speak to them about your services, more opportunities open up. The third thing, actionable content creates impact. When listeners walk away with insights that shift their thinking or give them something immediately that they can do, like a quick win type item, they keep coming back. Fourth, your podcast name should be super obvious. The best names don't require any explanation. That goes for business names, podcast names, blog names, YouTube names. Anything that is the call of your brand should be extremely obvious and not need any explanation whatsoever. And finally, let's unpack the question about, should your podcast change? Should it evolve? Well, if you've grown as a professional, your podcast and your brand should reflect that growth in its visuals and its messaging. Rebranding isn't just about a new look. It's about ensuring your message aligns with your audience, your business, and your long-term goals. If you are someone who sets new goals for your business every year, yet your brand and your podcast name even has stayed the same for several years, it's probably time for a rebrand. If this episode resonated with you and you're considering a podcast refresh, let's talk. I would love to help you with this, and as my team specializes in done-for-you production, so you can do what you do best, which is focusing on your business, we would love to handle this rebrand for you. Thank you for being part of this journey. Podcasting for financial professionals is exactly what it sounds like, and I can't wait to bring you even more insight, strategy, and high-level conversations about podcasting, tailored specifically for financial service providers like you. Make sure you've clicked that follow button in your app or the subscribe button if you're here watching on YouTube so you never miss an episode. And when you need expert podcast management, you know where to find me. See you next time.